everyone. Good day. Today video we gonna discuss about the if control structure, boolean values, the while control structure, getting user input, and the chomp operator. The if control structure. Once you can compare two values, you'll probably want your program to make decisions based upon that comparison. Like all similar languages, Perl has an if control structure that only executes if its condition returns a true value. Here we see if we assign free to the variable name and given with condition with, if the name is greater than the name Fred, it prints out variable name comes after Fred in sorted order. Basically, if execute if the condition is met. If you need an alternative choice, the else keyword provides that as well. If the condition is not met, it execute the else statement. Here the else statement is executed because hello is less than the name Fred. This comparison in Perl is based on asking. You must have those block curly braces around the conditional code, like Java, whether you know Java or not. It's a good idea to indent the contents of the blocks of code as we show here. That makes it easier to see what's going on. Boolean value. You may actually use any scalar value as the conditional of the if control structure. That's handy if you want to store a true or false value into a variable, like this. If we change the condition inside the if, it basically executes just like before. But how does Perl decide whether a given value is true or false? Perl doesn't have a separate Boolean data type like some languages have. Instead, it uses a few simple rules. If the value is a number, 0 means false, all other numbers mean true. Otherwise, if the value is a string, the empty string, apostrophe, and the string 0 means false, all other strings mean true. If the variable doesn't have a value yet, it's false. If you need to get the opposite of any Boolean value, use the unary not operator. If what follows is a true value, it returns false. If what follows is false, it returns true. Hashcode here. Here's a handy trick. Since Perl doesn't have a separate Boolean type, the has to return some scalar to represent true and false. It turns out that 1 and 0 are good enough values, so some people like to normalize their data to just those values. To do that, they double up the to turn true into false into true again, or the other way around. Here if we put the not operator, it execute the else statement, and if we double the not operator, it execute the if statement. Getting user input. At this point, you're probably wondering how to get a value from the keyboard into a Perl program. Here's the simplest way. Use the line input operator, stdin. Note the stdin is actually a line input operator working on the file handle stdin, but we can't tell you about that until we get to file handles. Each time you use stdin in a place where Perl expects a scalar value, Perl reads the next complete text line from standard input, up to the first new line, and uses that string as the value of stdin. Standard input can mean many things, but unless you do something uncommon, it means the keyboard of the user who invokes your program. If there's nothing waiting for stdin to read, typically the case, unless you type ahead a complete line, the Perl program will stop and wait for you to enter some characters followed by a new line, return. The string value of stdin typically has a new line character on the end of it, so you could do something like this. But in practice, you don't often want to keep the new line, so you need the chomp operator. The chomp operator, it works on the variable. The variable has to hold a string, and if the string ends in a new line character, chomp removes that new line. That's nearly all it does. For example, it works on a variable. The variable has to hold a string, and if the string ends in a new line character, chomp removes that new line. That's nearly all it does. For example, hashcode here. If a string ends with 2 or more new lines, chomp removes only 1. If there's no new line, it does nothing, and returns 0. For the most part, you don't care what chomp returns. The while control structure. Like most algorithmic programming languages, Perl has a number of looping structures. The while loop repeats a block of code as long as a condition is true. Hash code here, the code is if count is less than 10, then count is incremented by 2 in print. As always in Perl, the truth value here works like the truth value in the if test. Also, like the if control structure, the block curly braces are required. The conditional expression is evaluated before the first iteration, so the loop may be skipped completely if the condition is initially false. Note: eventually you'll create an infinite loop by accident. You can stop it in the same way you'd stop any other program. Often, typing Ctrl+C will stop a runaway program. Check with your system's documentation to be sure.